Alright, so let's take a look at number 9. Number 9 is an absolute value equation. Let's take a look over at the right side, just a little refresher on what exactly absolute value means. Absolute value is the distance a number is from 0 on the number line. So for instance, the absolute value of a negative 5 is 5. Why? Well, because negative 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps or places away from 0. Distance is never negative. Nobody lives negative 5 miles from school. You can't drive negative 70 miles per hour, right? So there's certain things that we express as a positive number. Distance is one of those. Obviously, you can have negatives, negative money in your bank account, negative temperature in Antarctica, but distance is something that's written as a positive. So the absolute value of a positive 5 would also be 5. And again, for the same reason, is that if I started here and I said, well, how far would it be to get to there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So a lot of times people think that absolute value is like some sort of positive machine, that it turns numbers positive. It's really not that. It's really more the case of the fact that, again, we're talking about distance, and distance is always expressed as a positive number. And so when you talk about distance and measuring distance, you could be coming from two different sides. So we came at 0 from two different places. We came at 0 from a positive 5, and we came at 0 from a negative 5. So coming from two sides here, there's the positive side and the negative side. Because if you ask the question, what number is 5 away from 0? Well, there's actually two possible answers. Positive 5 and negative 5. Right? So you have two possibilities there. So when we look at this and we're saying, okay, with absolute value of 6x minus 3 equals 15, what we don't know is this x, that number. We don't know if it's coming from the right side or from the left side, if it's coming from the positive side or the negative side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate it out into the two possibilities. Maybe it's coming from the positive side. And what we do with this is that we just solve it as it is. So 6x minus 3 equals 15. You notice I dropped off the absolute value bars. And maybe it's coming from the other side, the negative side. So this is where we end up taking the opposite. So notice what happens here is that everything stays the same, but instead of a positive 15, we have a negative 15. And maybe so you can see the difference here, right? So a negative 15 and a positive 15. Because again, distance is coming from two different places. Maybe we're coming from the right, maybe we're coming from the left. So then from here we would solve each equation. Add 3, divide by 6, and we get x equals 3. On the other equation, it's really the same steps. Add 3 to both sides. Negative 15 plus 3, different sign, subtract. 15 minus 3, which would give you 12. Keep the sign of the bigger, so you get a negative 12. Divide both sides by 6, and we get x equals negative 2. So those are our two answers, x equals negative 2 and x equals 3, because there's two possibilities. You could plug in a negative 2 right there. 6 times negative 2 would give you negative 12. 3 more would give you negative 15, but it comes out as a positive. Or if you plugged in 3, 18 minus 3 would give you 15. So there's two possibilities there. All right, so go ahead and pause now and try number 9 on the right. All right, so number 9 on the right should have had x equals negative 2 and x equals positive 6. All right, so that wraps it up for number 9. We're going to go ahead and finish up with number 10.